Welcome to the Compliance Resource Channel. Compliance Resource is a source of compliance assistance for financial institutions across the country. Today, our CEO, Jack Holzknecht, is going to talk to you about Regulation O and lending to insiders.
The insider lending provisions of the Financial Institutions Regulatory and Interest Rate Control Act were implemented as Regulation O in 1978. The regulation still causes problems for lenders today. Historical data show that insider abuse is at the heart of many bank failures. Examiners take very seriously their mission to prevent insider abuse. They frequently cite violations of Regulation O during examinations and often take enforcement action, including civil monetary penalties, a memorandum of understanding, or a cease and desist order. Typical violations include illegal overdrafts to insiders or extensions of credit that exceed one of several lending limit provisions contained in the regulation. These violations generally result from a lack of adequate procedures. Simple steps to monitor overdrafts and total extensions of credit to insiders are usually sufficient to prevent such violations. In other cases, violations result from a lack of understanding of the fine details of Regulation O. Most of the details are fairly straightforward, but contain enough complexity to cause confusion. For example, the term insider includes directors, executive officers, principal shareholders, and related interests of those parties. Most financial institutions easily identify their directors and executive officer, but confusion occurs when trying to identify principal shareholders and related interests. Determining the status of directors and executive officers of affiliated institutions is also a concern. Regulation O contains 3 sets of lending limits. Each set is fairly simple, but determine how they interact with one another often results in problems. Civil monetary penalties can be assessed against an institution or against individuals. Recently, federal regulators fined 5 former directors and executives for insider violations. The fines range from $8,000 to $20,000 per individual. Have you evaluated your Regulation O compliance risk recently?
At Compliance Resource, we want to make sure you and your staff understand who your insiders are, what transactions are considered extensions of credit, the prohibition against preferential treatment, the requirements for prior approval, the lending limits for each insider, all insiders as a group, and special limits for executive officers, the restrictions on overdrafts, and how Regulation O rules impact existing extensions of credit to newly elected and appointed insiders. Please join us for our webinar Thursday, June 1st from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The link to register will be in the description below. If you're viewing this video after June 1st, the link to purchase the recording of that webinar will also be in the description below. Thank you for joining us.